I'm at 12332 Padgett Court in Walton, Kentucky, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any mainly structural issues, bellies, usually like root intrusion, stuff like that. Just anything that would be of concern to the potential buyer. And we're going in through the floor clean out to the right side of the basement floor, in that little storage room with the HVAC. And I'm going to go both directions. I'm going to go upstream first back into the house, and we'll inspect that section of the line, and then we'll come back out and we'll flip over and go out downstream towards the main. So I'm going to show you where we're at first. You can see we are in the HVAC room. There's the basement. And so first we're going to go upstream. Not sure how far this will go. There's the bathrooms are on this side. We may only go 20 feet or so before we hit the stack, because this is a Y that would come across. There's a bathroom on the other side of the basement, and that would come all the way across and exit through the same clean out. So, but I'm not able to direct my camera in that direction, and so and there's no access to those stacks. They've been drywalled over on the left side of the basement. So we're inspecting as much pipe as possible, but you see we're making a hard right, and then we'll be heading directly towards that stack. You'll be able to tell the bottom left-hand corner the angle of the camera, and so you'll see that we're going to be going straight up, and that's about as far as we need to go. That is in the stack, so you can say at 84 degrees, roughly 90. So we're facing straight up. So we made it all the way back to that stack, and everything looked great. All the seams look tight. So this connection here is just coming off of a floor drain. It's got the condensate from the HVAC coming into it. This should be PVC. It's PVC all under the floor inside, and it should be PVC outside also. It may switch to a green. There are two different rating systems for some reason, but one is considered a Schedule 40, which is usually what they would use underneath the floor here. And then when you go outside, it may turn to a green, which is an SDR. It's just a different rating system, but it's SDR 35, which is a green pipe. It may change, it may not. We'll find that out here in a second. They're both, yeah, see, there you go. And so this is switching to SDR. It's the same, same material basically. It's just a different thickness rating that they use. This is an exterior pipe. I do not know where the main is in this house. It may be in the front yard, it could be across the street, but we'll also know that shortly. So far, everything looks great. Making a 90 and down, so we're either getting to the street or we're heading straight towards the main. We're at about almost a 45-degree angle here, heading straight down. We have a little bit of stuff on the front that should come off. There we go. Use that to drop to get deeper. It's This usually means they're underneath the street. Looks like a little bit of grease buildup there. So we do have a belly, and I'm not sure. Still floating here. A little concerned about this as to why, for a house this new, that we have this large of a belly. It looks like it is caused underneath the street. Now, with PVC, it is a lot slicker, so you shouldn't have anything sticking to it. There's really no place for it to catch, but I mean, I've been underwater for quite a long time here, and I'm just now coming out of it. I mean, I'd say it's at least a 2-inch belly, maybe more in the center of this, and then it comes out. And this would be under the street, I assume, based off of the footage and everything that's going on. It looks like the main is across the street. There's the main there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I'm going to pull to the top half, or it's actually the end of the belly, and I'm going to mark that, and then I will mark the upstream, also the beginning of it, and then I think this should definitely be assessed by a licensed plumber, or if the house is new, if there's still anything that they could go back to the builder. This is a pretty large belly. I mean, we don't have any water running right now, and it's just sitting full. So I am going to pause the video here, and I'm going to mark it. I mean, this has probably been functioning for quite a while. Based off of the drop right at the beginning of the belly, the line, there's a couple foot drop, and so it would take a lot to get this to back up, just because of how much it drops off. It goes when it goes into the belly. There's a couple foot drop off on the pipe, and then it hits that, and then it's supposed to be basically level until it gets into the. It's supposed to have about 1/8 of an inch per foot drop until it gets into the main, which there's a large belly under the street. So yeah, I'm going to suggest that this be assessed, hopefully with it being a newer house. I doubt it's ever caused an issue based off of all the solids I found in the line, but I would definitely have this assessed by a licensed plumber. So again, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to locate the end of the belly, and then I will also locate the upstream or the beginning of the belly. Okay, so this is right at the end of right before the curb. This is the end of the belly. This is 8 foot 10 inches deep at the invert, which is the inside. It's exactly where the camera is. And so I'm going to pull back, and we're going to mark the beginning of this. And this is under the road. I don't see any solids that are built up in this, and this would be major repair I mean, and I don't know, in Walton, this may be the responsibility of the city of Walton. That, I mean, I don't know how much they, I don't think that Walton is part of SD1. And see, most of this stuff like this is pretty, low water. This I normally wouldn't be concerned about. It's when we get back a little further and it gets deeper that would be a problem. I think that the drop off, the water has enough speed, and I'm not seeing any. You see some toilet paper in there, but toilet paper disintegrates. So I believe that this is all just, taking, it's overtaking the belly and flowing into the main just fine because it is PVC. Everything is, slick. And chances are when they backfilled, it pushed the line down in the center. And this is the first time a camera's ever been through it. It's probably been like this since it was installed. It's definitely something to monitor, and we would contact the City of Walton and see if they, because now we're back to it's at least a 2-inch belly in the middle of a 6-inch pipe, which it's, like I said, it's probably not affecting a whole lot, and they probably wouldn't dig up the road to repair it unless it caused any other issue. But it's definitely something to note and to investigate further about whose responsibility this would be. What I may do on the back side of this is I'm going to mark this spot, and then I think I'm going to do is I'm going to run back through this a second time. I'm going to put a standoff on the camera, and then I'm going to run it through there a second time, and just to get a look to see if I can get a better idea of exactly how deep that is. Covering the camera, it only takes about an inch and a half. But with a standoff, it will raise the lens up, and then we'll get a better idea of actually how drastic that belly is under the road. So again, I'm going to pause, locate, and then I'll pull back and put a standoff on the camera. Okay, so we've marked this. It is 9'10" to the invert. This is in the front yard. This is marked with a flag, and the part in the street is marked with green paint with the depth on it. The overall drop is probably, they do have overall drop, obviously, if they're coming, if there's this drastic drop off right here, which we're at 46 feet exactly. And that's about a 4.5 foot, maybe even a 5 foot drop off. Well, it's not actually a 4 foot drop, but that's the length of pipe there. So it's probably at least a 3 foot drop to get to that point. So overall, from here to the main, you definitely have at least 3 foot of drop, and it's probably, it will. So it should push through. That's why they probably never. There's no evidence that I've seen of any backups or anything, or any cleanings on any of the clean outs like this has ever been cleaned. Doesn't mean it hasn't, but looking at all this, because of the overall drop from the house to the main, this is probably, as long as you don't use wet wipes or anything like that with PVC, nice and slick, this should drain. But we want to get a better idea of how deep that belly is. Like I said, putting a standoff on this will at least help get a better measurement. So lift the camera up. If it's still, above that line, above the lens, then we will be able to at least better get an idea if it's over, 3 inches instead of just the 2. So pull out here. So we're outside of the pipe again, and I'm going to place a standoff. It raises it up about another inch. Okay. Push this out again. This should hold this up off the bottom of the pipe a little bit, and we'll go back out. Take a look at that line again. I'm going to actually make sure to go ahead and pull back, zero out the counter. Okay, so right here, we're going to zero out the counter to make sure, because the counter is done by the rotation of the drum. So it's not perfect, but see right here we are at 33 feet exactly, and then you can see we're at a 45-degree angle, and then at 45 back out, so that's a couple foot drop. And then when it gets to here, it looks like with this water sitting there, we're getting some grease build up on the sides. And that looks like pretty close to half the diameter of the pipe. I mean, it's still, at the low spot, I'd say that's at least 3 inches at the lowest spot. You can see it's not the entire diameter of the pipe. A lot of times the grease is from like fabric softener and stuff like that. That's the white stuff on the side. It's building up. Probably mixed with some toilet paper and stuff too. But that was about 47, so roughly 50 feet. See how deep this is. I mean, this is pretty deep. So it's still holding above this part of the water, but you can see the stuff floating. At this point, I mean, it's a 40 foot pipe that's bellied, and in some cases it's as much as 3 inches. So it's pretty drastic. Like I said, I'm sure it's probably been overtaking that belly for years. I think the house was built in 22, and probably the homeowner probably never had an issue, but definitely not correct. As you can see, it's already building up grease on the side of the pipe from the water sitting there. So my first recommendation is going to be that they do a little investigating as far as what Walton owns. I mean, you can see that's even on the top of the pipe there. I mean, that's building up pretty good. So, yeah, I think it's even more than 3 inches in spots. Yeah, I'm going to recommend that they talk to Walton first and see how much of this they are responsible for, or actually maybe even the builder. Find out, you know, if they're still responsible for anything, or the city of Walton, and see how much they are, because the belly ends in the middle of the street, but it starts in the yard. So I will take a picture and add that to the report as far as exactly where it is and how far apart the beginning and the end of this belly is. But I mean, that's 50 feet of pipe. You know, that's wild. So yep, so I'm going to recommend a few phone calls about this to see if the builder is responsible, how much the city of Walton is responsible as far as the main, like how far away from the main, if at all. So this may not be causing an issue now, but if this gets any worse, obviously it's a bad structural spot that could build up. As you can see, the grease from the stagnant water is already starting to build up on the walls. So we pulled all the way back. Again, we're out of the pipe. So, just to reiterate one last time, there's a huge belly, about 50 feet long. In some cases, I think it's at least 4 inches in places. And the pipe diameter is it's at least 3 inches, maybe 4 in areas, and the pipe diameter is 6. There's some buildup of some grease because of the stagnant water in that area, but I'm not sure whose responsibility it would be. If it's the homeowner or the builder, hopefully, I think this has been this way since the house was built, but I'm going to recommend contacting, doing some research on whether the builder or the city of Walton has anything to do with it, and also have this looked at by a licensed plumber and have their assessment, because I think they're probably going to say that this needs to be fixed, but it's a matter of who's going to do it and when, as far as how soon it would need to be done, or if we just wait until it causes an issue. So see if it does, because it may not. But so I'm going to end the inspection there for 12332 Padgett Court in Walton, Kentucky.